It's the women's turn to take on the hero workout known as Murph. Hi, everybody. I'm Sean Woodland alongside the second fittest man in the 45 to 49-year-old division, Bill Grundler, and the 2009 CrossFit Games champion, Tanya Wagner. Nicole Brazier and Rory McKernan will be joining us in a moment. We're through 2 events so far. This is event number 3. Cara Webb out of Australia is your leader by 8 points over Anna Tunnicliffe, and then the sensational rookie from Iceland occupies third. That's Sarah Sigmundsdottir.
This is an event that these ladies are going to come into knowing that what it feels like, knowing what to expect and how to attack it. Really cool event to kick off the weekend here at the Games.
Everyone knows what Murph is, but for those of you that might be new, this is what it consists of. It's a 1-mile run followed by 100 pull-ups, 200 push-ups, 300 squats, and then a final 1-mile run. And these ladies are going to do it all wearing a 14-pound vest.
And I love the fact that it once again just put the stamp on how the RX, the prescribed version of this workout, is supposed to be. Yes, you can say partition it. This CrossFit Games, we don't do that. Straight through 100, 200, 300.
This event is so much more than a workout. This is something that's been on the Games site for years, over 10 years, and it is in memory of Navy Lieutenant Michael Murphy. When he was 29 years of age, June 28th in 2005, he was killed in Afghanistan. And he had done this workout. This was his favorite workout. He was a CrossFitter, and he named the workout Body Armor because you do it wearing body armor or a vest. The ladies are wearing 14 pounds today, and it's a workout that's just so much more meaningful because he was an American who wanted nothing more in life than to serve his country.
Murph is underway, and same thing for the women as it was for the men. It's that 1-mile run underneath and then up and around the StubHub Center. Joe Scally, a rookie for the men, was first out on the run. That didn't last. So if you go out hard here, be careful.
You need to watch out for those pre-jitter anxiety and adrenaline.
It's true, but if we see Anna Tunnicliffe in the front of the pack and leading the pack, she's the only one I can say I won't be nervous. She knows her pace. She is a veteran athlete, a gold medal winner at the Beijing Olympics for sailing. She knows herself, and she has the engine. She has the capacity that these ladies should be nervous about.
And Tunnicliffe is one of the women out front. She is in the black leggings and orange shorts. Next to her is Alex Parker in the yellow. Kelly Jackson is up there. Sam Briggs, she's in the headband. She just left the screen. That's another woman you're going to want to watch on this event.
Yeah, that girl is all about grit and engine. So the uglier the workouts seem to get, the better she seems to do. So, you know, this is the beginning. This is just the beginning. This is going to set the tempo. But as we saw in the men, it's when we get into those movements where things start to break down and the field's really going to start to separate.
Particularly for the women, it will be the push-ups. The men definitely slow down there, but push-ups always seem to get the women a little bit faster. You're going to have to see a lot more braking strategies there on the push-ups than you did for the men.
Alex Parker is out front. Lindsay Valenzuela is in the middle of your screen. More on her in a second, what she's doing for this workout. That's Alex Parker, 16th in event number 1. She started CrossFit because she needed to learn how to climb a rope for a different competition. Apparently liked it. Now here she is at the CrossFit Games. It's her rookie season.
She's a law school student, and she was part of the National Alpine Ski Team for Canada.
Guess what? Then the air squat should be no problem for her, right?
She's got the legs.
Parker out front. Behind her in the black leggings is Anna Tunnicliffe. This is the first leg of that initial 1-mile run. Sam Briggs in the white top. She's out front as well. Kristen Holte, who battled with Anna Tunnicliffe last year in the triple threes, that 3,000-meter row, 300 double unders, and then 3-mile run. The two of them battling on the final leg, but Alex Parker setting the early pace here on this initial 1-mile run.
Parker comes into this event sitting in 20th place after day 1.
Camille LeBlanc-Bazinet, the defending champion, looking at her watch in the yellow shirt and the white and black hat, middle of your screen, staying with the pack. Alex Parker will be the first woman to make the turn. She's followed by Anna Tunnicliffe.
Look at the tempo, look at the pacing that they have. That's a 6-minute mile pace right out of the gate. That could be dangerous. That's a lot. That's really fast.
Especially when you see who's just behind her. I think that's another rookie mistake here, similar to the guys, because Anna Tunnicliffe, Sam Briggs, they always set the pace that nobody can touch.
The rookies out front, that's Alex Parker in the yellow behind her. In the black leggings, orange shorts, Anna Tunnicliffe, a veteran behind Tunnicliffe, another veteran and a former champion, the 2013 Fittest Woman on Earth, Samantha Briggs.
Tunnicliffe's coming into today in 2nd place. Sam Briggs is coming into today in 5th place. Very important win for these girls. They're important for them in this event to stay atop the leaderboard. They really do need to place high, and I think the field knows that they definitely can do it.
Hit the 4-minute mark. Alex Parker continues to lead. Anna Tunnicliffe, she is in 2nd. Tunnicliffe came in 2nd place overall, just 8 points behind Cara Webb. Tunnicliffe won the final event on Wednesday, Sandbag 2015.
She can do the grunt work. Like we said, she's not always the most technical athlete, so I expect to see when we have some more events with skills and you need a little bit more of the technical aspect, she won't do as well there. So she knows an event like this, an event like Wednesday night, these are hers. She needs to take them.
Parker in first, behind her is Anna Tunnicliffe. Kristen Holta and Sam Briggs behind them. Kelly Jackson is behind those two women.
Sam Briggs, back in the back of your screen in the headband, she was missed last year, was missed out because of not being able to complete the handstand walks. So she is back with a vengeance. Just a woman that always, she's unstoppable, and she was missed at last year's games. We really did, and the pressure here for her now is just to show that she last year just lit a fire under her and just said, I'm ready.
And let's not forget how tough Samantha Briggs is. She's not going to mind the suffering in this event. During regionals, she finished the whole thing, competed in all 7 events with a broken foot.
A good friend of mine has a broken foot right now. Can't even imagine competing at regionals.
Kristen Holt on the left, Sam Briggs on the right, the two of them working down the ramp. Danae Brown in the white shorts out of Australia. She's also towards the front, as every woman got to the 800-meter mark in 3 minutes and 40 seconds or less. Anna Tunnicliffe starting to put on her hand guards as she's now going to get ready for 100 straight pull-ups. We mentioned this during the men's competition, but it's the same thing for the women. They don't get to break these up. They have to go straight through.
For the ladies, that will cause, they're fantastic. They can handle high volume, but particularly for the ladies, they really need to be smart with how they're pacing out their chunks of 25. They all can do more pull-ups, but upper body, there's a lot of upper body work here for these ladies with the 100 pull-ups and 200 push-ups, so they really will be smart. You're going to see some different strategies for breaking them up.
Alex Parker first to the pull-up bar. She's followed closely by Anna Tunnicliffe, Sam Briggs, and Kristen Holtic. Kelly Jackson and Danae Brown are also on the field. And Parker getting right to work.
That's pretty impressive. Going straight from that run, a little bit of a chalk and right to the bar. No waiting at all. That's an impressive. Even though she's rookie, that's pretty impressive. Listen, but is she going to be able to hold on to that? That's the question.
We're only 7 minutes into this.
If you take a look at the structure in the middle of the field, it was built by Rogue Fitness. They're calling it Zeus. It's the biggest rig they've ever put on the field here at the soccer stadium, and Rory McKernan has more.
Yeah, Sean, this is the last time the ladies will be in the shade, because the only shade on the field is being provided by this mountain of steel. Like you said, it's called Zeus, and I think the Thunder Crowd would be proud. It's 85,000 pounds. That's about 42 tons, 20 feet tall, 242 feet across, means that it spans the entire field. And it's modular, which means that tomorrow it might get an entire facelift, which gives Dave Castro a little bit of leeway with programming as well.
Thanks, Ro. And an army of volunteers who are the unsung heroes of this event built this whole thing in less than a day.
I think you could put an apartment complex on top of that thing. It's so massive.
The women will advance every 25 pull-ups. There's 4 pull-up bars. Kelly Jackson's on the left. On the right is Alex Parker, who is the first woman onto the pull-up bar, and then on the far right of your screen is Anna Tunnicliffe.
And impressive for Kelly Jackson there in the far left of your screen in the orange headband. ripped out about 10 pull-ups there, surprising a big chunk like that, but she looked very relaxed.
I mean, also being a gymnast, you're going to have those kind of movements. They are going to have the upper body strength that is going to be a big, big feather in their cap over the other women.
Good look at Zeus, the rig that's being used by all the competitors here at the 2015 Reebok CrossFit Games. Samantha Briggs, the 2013 champion. And you want to talk about a woman with pulling power, it's Samantha Briggs. Anna Tunnicliffe is on the left, Sam Briggs is on the right. Those two women are now starting to separate themselves here on the pull-ups.
Heads popping up there, everyone.
That's the fittest game of whack-a-mole you're ever going to see.
Again, it's so hard with these pictures. It doesn't do it justice until you go to the top just to see how massive and how many parts. But 42 tons of steel. It's ridiculous. I wonder how many trucks it took just to get Zeus here.
Bill, you can see these women are clearly suffering. It's hot down there. You competed down there. It's warm up here. What does it feel like down there when you're going through this?
Well, not only is it's basically stagnant air. I mean, there's a slight breeze, but that's when if you're up at the top part of the stadium. Down here on the floor where the grass is, it's not only hot, but it's also humid with that grass. So your body is trying to cool off. You're sweating way more than you normally would. Because there isn't that breeze, you're just not able to evaporate and cool off. So this is extremely tough on these women. And, man, I got to hand it to them. I mean, we were down there for a workout that lasted 20 minutes. We're saying this one's lasting 55 for a time cap of 55. That's brutal.
Anna Tunnicliffe is the woman in the lead on this first set of 100 pull-ups. After this, it's on to 200 push-ups, 300 air squats, and then a final 1 mile run. And Tunnicliffe getting a no rep. She's got to get her chin over that bar.
And just looking at the work to be done here, Briggs, in my opinion, is going to be the one that has the advantage. She has been CrossFitting years longer than Tunnicliffe, so when it comes to these movements, especially the pull-ups, she's going to have the advantage over Tunnicliffe, even though they came in at the same time off that run.
Annie Thorstadter now on her final set of 25 pull-ups. Thorstadter, the only woman to win 2 CrossFit Games championships, and she did it in back-to-back years, 2011 and 2012.
She's coming in today in 6th place. Did not have to compete against Sam Briggs last year, and that was, again, another missing piece. We all love the history of the Sam and Annie back and forth that we saw, but a little different Annie than we're used to seeing. She's matured Annie. She's a little different. Doesn't have as much of that recklessness that we used to see, but she still has the fire. She still has to be. You have to look out for her. She just seems more composed. And
you've seen her evolution firsthand. You saw her in 2009 when you competed against her in her first CrossFit Games.
Much different. I mean, she still was a threat and scary to do wall balls next to. She has the power and she can go for days. But now she has this strategy, just a lot more, just really intelligent, and just really uses her experience.
Sam Briggs and Anna Tunnicliffe, the first 2 women onto their 200 push-ups. They'll break them up into sets of 50. They'll advance every 50.
Briggs doesn't look like she's having too much trouble here. This girl popped off the ground with her first push-up there. She's very powerful. She will break these up, but really strong athlete here on the push-ups.
Annie Thorstadter sitting in 3rd place. This is the first time in CrossFit Games history on the women's side that we've had 3 former champions in the field. Thorstadter is one, Briggs is the other, and Camille LeBlanc-Bazinet. Briggs, Tunnicliffe, and Thorstadter all getting through their pull-ups in about 11.5 minutes, the slowest, 11:25 for Thorstadter.
If you look at Sam Briggs, which is on the right-hand side of the screen, the forefront, very wide grip. She's got really long arms. Same thing with Annie on the left side of the screen, wide grip. But look what Anna Tunnicliffe is doing. Very close. Elbows are very close. A lot longer distance that she's having to travel. Also, she's not able to use as much of her arm. That's only tricep when you go close. Go a little bit wider. You can bring your shoulders in there. And let's look one more thing at what Annie's doing. She's switching up her hand position. This is something that one of her coaches, Yami, told her to do, is to that way you bring in a little bit different muscle fibers with every different setup. So hands are wide, hands are turned in, hands are adjusted up forward or backwards. Super smart.
Camille LeBlanc-Bazinet is also onto her push-ups. She is in the hat on the right of your screen. She just left your view. More women now starting that set of 200 push-ups.
And you can see the ways that some of these athletes are bouncing off the ground. It's going to be smart to use that momentum off the ground as long as you can maintain that body position and stay tight. Right there you can see nice and strong, a few reps instead of the slow and controlled, a lot less time under tension. Very, very wise.
Sam Briggs has 5 to go before she's done with her first 50. She's going to hear from this crowd as she will move to the station for her second set of 50. Sam Briggs has been injured all year. She had a little bit of a back injury that she dealt with during the Open. Then she had the broken foot during regionals. But I've said it before, an injured Sam Briggs, the banged up Sam Briggs, is still Sam Briggs.
Yeah, you don't ever know. I mean, that's the whole thing. You really don't know. All these guys come in banged up. But it doesn't matter the degree that Sam Briggs comes in banged up, she'll still keep herself at the top.
She never, ever lets anything get in her way. She constantly is moving forward, constantly driving through any pain, constantly driving through any obstacle. And I think that's what makes her such a, well, one, she was a champ, but two, she's just a threat because of that to all the other athletes.
And don't forget, she's 33 years old. She's not in her 20s like some of these young girls that can recover so fast. I mean, she is in the older bracket, and she still is able to compete at this level.
Annie Thorschauer getting a no rep on her second set of 50 push-ups. Meanwhile, Camila Blanc-Bazinet is trying to catch the leaders. But Blanc-Bazinet has some work to do because she was pretty far down the leaderboard. Now Emily Bridgers, the middle of your screen, in her rookie year as an individual competitor, finished 6th. She comes in with some high expectations.
Both these women sit in 22nd, 23rd for Bridgers. They are not where they expected to be going into the Friday of the games, but for both of these athletes, they have a lot of work cut out. It's going to be, if they can handle mentally, what it's going to take to get them out of that hole. And Camille has a history of not being able to do that as well. Really hoping we see a shift for her this year, with it being Friday and an event that's familiar to her. If she can handle her own and hold her own here, we should see her start to creep back up.
Sam Briggs in the middle of your screen is your leader. She's fighting with the woman on the left of your screen, Anna Tunnicliffe. Briggs had about a 30-second lead on Tunnicliffe and a 45-second lead on another champion, Annie Thorschauer. .5 minutes gone. There's a 55-minute time cap on Murph. The first time we have ever done this event at the CrossFit Games.
With that body armor on it, it pulls you at a little different angle than you're used to. So you're going to really feel this in your shoulders, particularly because the athletes can't have their legs and everything lay on the ground. So in keeping and trying to get that body armor to touch your chest and stay that far forward, it really just pushes your weight so much more forward over your deltoids, over your shoulders.
Annie Thorschauer still working through her 200 push-ups, and now 3 more to go for Samantha Briggs, and she will advance once again to maintain her lead.
I was going to say right before Sam got up, it's almost like they're doing a hand release push-up because you literally have to push your chest against that chest plate and then down onto the ground.
Sam Briggs continues to lead. Emily Bridgers is trying to make up some ground, and Roy McKernan has more on her.
In the Atlantic region, Tunnicliffe and Briggs in that battle went traded punches. The third woman in the race was Emily Bridgers, and she in this race has been making up ground in the push-ups. She's the only one who's been getting up onto her feet after each set to shake it out and get some more blood flowing to her muscles. She's ditched that effort, but she's making up ground here on the push-ups, so look for her to make a move now.
Thanks, Ro. Emily Bridgers won the Atlantic Regional. She was just one of 2 women to win 4 events at her regional this year. Anna Tunnicliffe with 5 to go before she will advance to the next station.
And Bridgers, no doubt she can handle the pressure. She is a strong athlete. She can definitely compete against the women. But remember, this weekend is all about competing against the test. The CrossFit game, the test of fitness. And so we see a lot of those athletes that come in, they were 1st or 2nd in their region. And then you're wondering, why aren't they doing as well here? Because this is an even bigger test. You're limited at each regional with what events you can have, but here it's wide open and you're going to see everything thrown at these athletes.
Alethea Boone out of the Pacific Regional. She's from New Zealand. She's on the right, and the next to her is Carrie Pierce. She's a former gymnast from the University of Michigan. Carrie Pierce has only been doing CrossFit since November. And she's here at the games.
That's when you know you're just all-around good athlete coming into. That's pretty impressive.
She's 26 years of age and just qualified after her first regional, just on a whim went into the Open after 3 months of CrossFitting, and here she is on the big stage. If this is her first year, it's definitely a name we're going to see in the future.
Sam Briggs is still your leader. And Briggs missed qualifying last year. She did not have a chance to defend her title of fittest woman on earth, and she's definitely looking to reclaim that here in 2015.
For Sam Briggs, too, she's training out of Miami. Another one familiar with this heat, with this temperature, so never seems to bother her. Nothing really seems to bother her or affect her, the atmosphere, but even more so, she's used to this.
She and Anna Tunnicliffe, your top two, and unlike the men, where we saw the leaders on the run sort of fall back, the leaders on the initial run here for the women are still out in front.
But I think the reason they're still in front is because it wasn't all about the run for them. They were able to have a decent pace, but they're also good at pull-ups, and they were strong enough for the push-ups.
Sam Briggs has a new challenger for the top spot. Alethea Boone in the orange on the left of your screen has now moved into first place, a couple of reps ahead of Sam Briggs. Alethea Boone out of CrossFit Active Artarmon in New South Wales actually carried the torch for the 2000 Sydney Olympic Games because she was on the Olympic reserve team for New Zealand.
Down here on the field, you can see Alethea Boone is on a charge. She's just taking it inch by inch, little bite by little bite. She's doing 2 reps at a time, but virtually no rest. She'll sit back on her legs, shake it out, and go back to work. Whereas Sam Briggs is pulling off maybe 3, maybe 4, but taking long breaks in between. Alethea Boone's starting to run away with this.
Your two leaders, Alethea Boone, who managed to sneak up on Sam Briggs.
Former gymnast here, so she needs to get her points, make this distance up here, because Sam Briggs, with a triathlon background, once we get on the run, I think for Alethea, then she has her work cut out for her. So she does need to keep creeping and keep putting that pressure on Sam here.
As long as Alethea can keep that strategy, though, of short numbers and short reps, she's going to do just fine. She was looking basically like a metronome, just on for 2, off for 2, on for 2, off for 2. It's going to be impressive to see if she does the same strategy with the squats, and then exactly how much power she's going to have left for that run.
Boone is on your right, Carrie Pierce is on your left. More women starting to push Samantha Briggs now for that top spot.
Pierce, another former gymnast of 18 years.
Kristen Holta is now there as well. She's right next to Sam Briggs. Briggs at the bottom of your screen. Emily Bridgers has moved up.
Briggs and Boone, though, are leading by about a minute over the field.
Anna Tunnicliffe, who was in second place for most of this movement, has now fallen back as Alethea Boone and Carrie Pierce are pushing Sam Briggs for the top spot. Now here comes Anna Tunnicliffe. Tunnicliffe in the orange shorts towards the upper middle of your screen. Briggs is on your left, Carrie Pierce and Alethea Boone on your right. Pierce is in the blue top, Alethea Boone is in the orange.
The stamina that the women have in their upper body, if you're a gymnast, is just that much greater for 18, 20 years of being a gymnast. They really have that advantage then with that muscular stamina and being able to go the distance for these 200 push-ups.
Upper right-hand part of your screen, Alethea Boone has taken over first place from Samantha Briggs, but not by much, as Briggs is now going to move on to her 300 air squats.
Every 75, the athletes will move up to the next mile marker.
Yeah, Boone needs some points. She finished 39th and 29th in the first 2 events. She's 37th overall.
And already there's that tempo difference between Boone and Briggs. Look how much quicker Briggs is moving. And this is where she excels. When it's with the legs or anything in that realm, she just can take on so much pain and can continue going so much longer than anyone else can. It's just so amazing.
Briggs is 4 inches taller than Boone as well. So she makes it look that easy. Just knows her body, knows how to move.
Samantha Briggs came in 5th place overall. She's only 56 points back of Cara Webb, who is your overall leader.
Look at even the body position. Alethea is starting to lean over a little bit more. That's going to be real taxing on her back, especially when they get into the run. But Samantha Briggs, nice and tall, allowing her to breathe. She's not going to miss any reps. She knows she can hit that bottom position and bounce out. Standing up, get those hips open up forward, make every rep count.
And that's where that extra body armor, that 14 pounds pulling you forward, you really want to keep your chest up because your low back is really going to feel this.
Carrie Pierce, just out of view on the left of your screen, has moved into third place. Every 75 air squats, the women will move up a station. 3 leaders in the upper middle portion of your screen. And Kristen Holton has now moved up into 4th. On the bottom of your screen, in the orange shorts and light blue top, that's Sarah Sigmundsdottir.
This is our youngest athlete on the, she's a younger athlete on the women's side. She's 20 years old, and she is just one that has the familiarity that we're used to of Annie, a young Annie Thorsdottir.
Boone, Briggs, and Pierce, 3 first women done with the push-ups. You saw their times in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. We were talking to Sarah Sigmundsdottir in a couple days leading up. She's actually been doing some workouts with Samantha Briggs, and in one of those workouts, Briggs beat her. It had running. Sigmundsdottir was so upset that later that night she went home and ran a 10K to practice.
Wow.
That
Let me
shows
beat
you the,
myself down on that one.
Yeah, that shows you the heart and just like the mindset of the younger athletes when they're like, okay, that's what I have to do. No problem, I'm going to do that, check.
Sigmundsdottir is in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. She's in the blue top and orange shorts.
But Sigmundsdottir's getting no rep, having trouble with some of that depth. When your chest gets too far forward, it's really hard to get your hips that low as well where you need to be. That hip crease has to go below your knee for it to count as full depth, and then the athlete must stand all the way back up to full extension with their hips, knees locked out.
Sam Briggs on the right, Boone on the left. The fans from Iceland cheering on. 4 women from Iceland took 5 spots in the Meridian Regional and made it over here to the CrossFit Games.
Yeah, there's something in the water over there.
Boone's pace on the left starting to slow a little bit. Meanwhile, Sam Briggs, like a metronome.
She is a machine. You just look at her, and she just keeps moving.
And this is where most people, I mean, you can go, okay, I'll do 10, I'll do 15, and I'll take a little break. In her mind, I don't know if she even sets a number of, I'll hit 30, I'll hit 40. She just goes, and just continues to go, but looks okay doing it. Doesn't look like it's hurting or there's any kind of pain at all.
There's a couple different strategies you have out there and a couple different mindsets, and one of them is mission mindset. I have this to do, I'm going to do it, get it done. Others, I'm going to adapt on the fly, I'll see how I feel and go with it, but Briggs really is a mindset and a mission.
Kristen Holty moving into 3rd place. Carrie Pierce as well. She's on the far right of your screen. You can see her arm sticking out there. She is also pushing for 3rd place with Kristen Holty. The 2 leaders, Alethea Boone on your left in the orange and Sam Briggs in the right box. She has the white top and the headband on. And now 3 reps to go before she advances to her 3rd set of 75 air squats.
Little breather here is all she's going to need. That built-in rest from moving from one set to the one marker to the next.
Briggs is in the lead. Alethea Boone received a couple of no reps. Your top 5 women all right next to each other. But it's Sam Briggs on the upper right-hand portion of your screen, now middle screen, who continues to lead. And once again, she was out front on the initial run. We saw Joe Scally do that with the men. He was not able to hold that. Sam Briggs, though, different luck.
Yeah, that's just a whole different animal. Not only rookie. Here's something you have to look at with Alethea Boone. She's sitting in 2nd right now, but her positioning even on these squats is just so bad, which is totally different than those push-ups that she was doing.
Well, you look at her face, former gymnast, usually they have that upper body strength, but now it's catching up to her here. She wanted to stay with Sam Briggs' pace. She just wasn't able to handle that. And you can always tell by facial expressions, she looks stressed, she looks like she's struggling, and she is.
Sam Briggs on the right has about a 25 rep lead over Alethea Boone. And that's the reason why the pace for Sam Briggs has not slowed at all.
Sam moves as if she's not wearing that armor.
There is no deviation in her form whatsoever. Bill, you mentioned it. Alethea Boone starting to lean forward a little bit.
Forward.
That's not the best way to move in this.
Yeah, leaning forward. She's getting really round. Not staying so flat on her heels anymore. Her butt starts to come up, first out of the bottom. I mean, just a lot of things that she's showing total fatigue. Now with Sam, she's round, but here's the difference. Sam's never really had perfect form when she does her movements, but she's so powerful in this position, and that's the difference. She's not breaking down. That's normal.
Sam Briggs at this point is breaking her sets into 25. She'll take a quick break, and she gets right back to work. Kristen Holte has moved into third place on the right of your screen, and then on the left of your screen is Carrie Pierce pushing for third place as well. Samantha Briggs onto her final set of 75 air squats. Briggs came in 5th place overall.
And just impressive that she's doing these in 3 sets of 25 this far into Murph.
And literally there hasn't been any slowing from the first 100 of the air squats to this last 75 of the air squats.
You spoke about her form, and early on Sam Briggs just technically wasn't there. She had a lot of issues with her squat in particular, but now she really has cleaned that up, really tightened up a lot of her form. She's trained with many different athletes. She's one of those athletes that goes from town to town and makes sure she trains with as many of these athletes as possible, which is a really cool thing to do. You learn different techniques. You get to just see what other athletes are doing, what they're training, and it's really helped Sam a lot.
Alethea Boone has fallen back, but she's still in 2nd place behind Samantha Briggs. Boone's trying to work her way up the leaderboard. She was towards the bottom in 37th place after the first 2 events on Wednesday. A look at the field here at the StubHub Center, the soccer stadium. We'll move into the tennis stadium later for the snatch speed ladder.
And for these athletes, they're all competing here in one heat, so they really get to see where they're going to fall out. They know where they are on the leaderboard with the rest of the field. So for them, you're looking around. It can be that, all right, I know Sam Briggs has it. All right, Alethea Boone, she's farther down the list. So for those girls in like the 10 to 15 range, they're really looking at who's ahead of me on the leaderboard. I really need to beat them. There's a lot of time out there for strategy and for looking at that. So you can bet that there's other athletes out there just seeing where they are amongst the rest of the field.
Sam Briggs on her final 5 reps before she's going to take off back through the tunnel on that 1 mile run. And Sam Briggs has 100 points in her sights.
It's going to take a lot for anybody to catch her.
Briggs exiting the soccer field underneath the StubHub Center. She'll make the turn at the 800-meter mark and come back in on that final 1 mile run, and she is way out in front.
And Tanya, you were talking earlier about how for the women, the pull-ups and the push-ups were going to be so much more demanding on them. These women are moving so much faster than the men were. I mean, they're about a minute ahead on the run, at least on the first set. They're well ahead of the pace, going into the run right now. Blowing my mind right now.
Women can handle that pain, Bill.
Strong job, ladies. I'm really impressed.
Well, remember, Sam Briggs had the knee injury. She had the back injury. There's a lot of times where when Sam Briggs had that year with the injury on the knee, her upper body, that's what she did.
Alethea Boone almost took off. She got a no rep, and then she had to redo 1 air squat. Now she is trying to chase down Samantha Briggs.
But Boone is about 45 seconds behind Briggs. It's going to take a lot for her to make a push. I don't know if she's going to have enough in the tank or enough speed to be able to catch up to Briggs.
Samantha Briggs all by herself, emerging from the StubHub Center. She'll make a couple of left turns and then head out on the straightaway before she turns around and does the course in reverse order. And then she'll have to run all the way across the soccer field, across the finish line to close out event number 3, Murph.
Now in the first mile between Sam and Boone, there was about a 21-second difference. So Sam had about that on ahead. The fact she's about 45 seconds ahead right now, she's about a minute ahead on Alethea. So that's going to be a lot to maintain, especially when you know Sam is going to be picking up the pace on this last mile.
Alethea Boone solidly in second place. Chasing that woman, Samantha Briggs, who's looking to rack up yet another event win in her career at the CrossFit Games. Now Kristen Holte, the third woman. The woman who won the triple threes back in 2014.
Now here's where if I was Alethea, I'd have a little nervousness as soon as she realizes Holte's on her back, because Holte's one of those girls that she can run. She'll be able to catch it. I'm going to predict there could be a foot race here between Boone and Holte.
Well, look at the tempo already. I mean, we were talking earlier about like what all those squats are going to do to your stride. She doesn't look like anything's happened to her legs yet.
And
so
Holte better be careful, because right behind her is Carrie Pierce. Pierce just turning the corner there. She's in the blue shirt. Holte in the sunglasses in the bottom right-hand portion of your screen.
This is going to be definitely a different mile run for these women here than it will be for Sam Briggs, who's way ahead.
Kristen Holte emerging from the confines of the bowels of the StubHub Center. Right behind her, Carrie Pierce. Carrie Pierce, once again, has only been doing CrossFit since November of last year.
I don't have anything to say to that.
It's just
awesome.
unbelievable.
I'm just going to say this. Awesome.
She has done some
awesome.
Olympic lifting in the past. She has done some powerlifting and some gymnastics. She just finally decided to put it all together and start training CrossFit. Made the games and making a great showing here in Murph. Samantha Briggs, though, way out in front. She tries to lock up 100 points. And she's ahead of all the women who are in front of her currently in the overall standing. So Sam Briggs could move up the leaderboard into the top three, if not to the very top position.
Sam Briggs, that name that everybody is familiar with, she has been a part of the Invitational since 2012. So she's always been represented, and she just is one of those athletes that, you know, we say that you can tell her whatever to do and she just does it, but also the amount of training this woman does and the amount of competitions that she's doing in the off season, I would bet is actually higher than anybody else. Some athletes really, they don't want to train too many competitions, don't want to do too much. Briggs is, the more I can get my hands on, the better.
Kristen Holte trying to chase down Alethea Boone. Holte was the third woman. And meanwhile, Cara Webb is still going through her air squat. She's on her final set. She came in the overall lead. But Sarah Sigmundsdottir was in third place. Anna Tunnicliffe was in second. Samantha Briggs is ahead of all three of those women. She could pass them in the overall standings. Samantha Briggs congratulating Alethea Boone, acknowledging her on the course as she makes her home turn. Alethea Boone getting set to turn around at the 800-meter mark as well.
That's impressive. Sam's high-fiving everyone as she goes. What's great about these athletes is they do train a lot together, you know, throughout the year, whether it's athlete training camps or competitions, and there's such a cool camaraderie that's already built up within these competitors. They all know what it feels like, and they're all, you know, come on, keep going. That's just such a cool CrossFit thing.
It's great sportsmanship, and especially when you're in the lead, though, it's even easier.
Oh, yeah.
To
It's easy to be nice to everybody.
Guys, they know how it feels.
And this is big. Cara Webb doing some damage control and getting out on that run. Your overall leader at 188 points. She only had an 8-point lead over Anna Tunnicliffe. And Cara Webb last year looked like she could be on her way to winning the CrossFit Games, and then she had a shoulder injury that was caused by a misaligned jaw, and she had to withdraw from the competition. She wound up finishing 31st, but she is on a mission here in 2015.
I wouldn't expect this to be one of her best events. She's just the longer, especially with the weight vest on, so she could probably handle this to be maybe one of the ones, not the top, but she can't let herself get too far down as well. It's a long competition, but you really don't want any one event to really drag you down.
Stacy Tovar is right behind Briggs, or I'm sorry, right behind Cara Webb. Michelle Latara is in the orange pants. She's working her way up the hill as well. Cara Webb and Stacy Tovar are trying to reel her in.
Here in the orange tights, Michelle Latara coming in at 14th place, and she's another athlete that just gets stronger every year that she's here. This is her 5th consecutive games.
She just got passed going the other way by Samantha Briggs. Now passing Stacy Tovar. Sam Briggs getting set to head inside the tunnel, and she's going to hear it from this crowd when she emerges. It looks like she's going to lock up 100 points in an event win here in Murph.
She makes these workouts look so incredibly easy. It doesn't matter what the workout is, unless it's a very, very heavy lift. She makes it look like it's way too easy. So those of you guys at home, if you've done Murph, you know what it feels like. Look at Sam Briggs and look at her face. It looks so easy.
There were guys still doing air squats at 55 minutes. Sam Briggs is at 38 minutes and finishing this event.
Insane.
And she's doing it with a 14-pound weight vest. Let's not forget that. Samantha Briggs getting ready to hear it from this crowd at the soccer stadium, the StubHub Center. She makes her way back onto the field.
And that feeling's gotta pump you up. Light at the end of the tunnel, final stretch, and all these fans cheering so loud for you.
Samantha Briggs with just about 25 yards to go, and she will win Murph with a time of 39 minutes and 10 seconds unofficially. Briggs would have finished second in the men's division with that time.
Wow.
So impressive, so inspiring for people just to watch that. It leaves us speechless. Just the amount, the capacity that she is able to handle.
Briggs taking some water as Alethea Boone looks to be the second woman to finish up this final mile run. But look out, because here comes Kristen Holte. And she has what looks to be a faster pace than Boone. And Holte might be able to steal second from Alethea on the final leg of this 1 mile run.
Holte is used to triathlons, half marathons in the past. She's a heptathlete, gymnastics, dance, soccer, cross country. This girl has the legs, she has the lungs and the speed, so Boone really needs to watch out.
Now Boone is out, but here comes Kristen Holte. Boone has about a 20-yard lead on Holte. And Kristen's cutting into that, but Boone may have enough real estate between herself and Kristen Holte to hold her off. Alethea Boone needed this. Second place, her best result so far out of 3 events. She was 37th overall, and a somersault across the finish line for Alethea Boone. And Kristen Holte will finish in 3rd.
Great push for Alethea Boone.
Meanwhile, Annie Thorisdottir is in big trouble now.
I saw her come off of her air squats, and it was very uncharacteristic. She just couldn't get the run started, and you can see that her legs just are not working right. She's really falling apart.
Think back to 2012 at Camp Pendleton, where we saw a similar sort of thing with Chris Spieler. His legs were just cramping up. He had all sorts of problems. This looks to be a similar sort of situation. Annie Thorisdottir walking on her final 1 mile run.
In 2012, she won that beach event that was very similar, had half the reps here of Murph with the pull-ups, push-ups, and air squats. She can handle that with her legs, so this is very uncharacteristic.
But look at the difference here. That was at the beach, nice and cool, overcast. Today it's extremely hot, extremely humid. These guys were on the field, and it's so humid out on the field, so she could just be cramping up, just losing a lot of those salts. I mean, it looks like her legs are just, misfiring. She can't get them to move the way she wants them to move.
There's a member of the medical staff in the red shirt next to her making sure that Annie Thorisdottir is okay.
But that is definitely not a face we're used to seeing.
Carlene Matthews across the finish line. Camille Blanc-Bazinet is out on her final 1 mile run. More women starting to finish. Carrie Pierce is getting set to cross the finish line.
Nice and relaxed. Camille Blanc-Bazinet with the black hat. Really impressed that she's looking so relaxed and smooth on that run.
She's got to make up some ground as well. The Blanc-Bazinet coming in 22nd place overall after the first 2 events. She finished 33rd, but Annie Thorisdottir.
I mean, not even walking here, Sean. She's hunched over. It really shows you how much she's struggling and what she's dealing with.
I have never seen Annie Thorisdottir look like this in any event ever at the CrossFit Games.
CrossFit Games, regionals, anywhere.
Anna Tunnicliffe, who is pushing for the lead, making the final turn back onto the soccer field.
I am shocked, though. This is my big surprise, Anna Tunnicliffe. I thought she was going to make a push with Sam Briggs there in the start. She started off very strong. She was like the second one back in on the run. Very surprised that she fell this far.
Crowd cheering on Anna Tunnicliffe on the final leg of her 1 mile run. On the right is Cara Webb, who came into the overall lead, and she looks miserable right now.
She looks out of it.
She really does.
Cara Webb just does not look like she's having an easy time keeping it together here, but that's a phase of extreme fatigue for the woman who came in with the overall lead. She's right next to Stacy Tovar, and Annie Thorisdottir, meanwhile, continues to walk on this final 1 mile run.
This is
now picking up the pace. And let's keep in mind, these are the fittest women in the world.
She's able to run again, but I don't know for how long. This is going to go down as one of those events that they remember that feeling, and you feel sick when you think about it.
Well, you see reactions like this and things like when people do the Hawaiian Ironman. You know, where you're out there for so long, your body just goes into complete, depletion of all of its minerals and everything else, to where your body is not listening to what you're telling it to do.
Well, and you think about the pace. The pace was set just so fast from that first mile run that once you go too far in the tank for what your body can handle, it's so hard. You just can't get that back.
Stacey Tovar on the right, sorry, is past Cara Webb. Now Camila Blanc-Bazinet looking pretty smooth here on this final mile run. Not towards the top, but she's not going to be towards the bottom, but she's got to start scoring some points in order to start working her way back up the leaderboard.
She's never the most dominant when it comes to just grunt work or things like this, so she'll get her chance when she sees more classic CrossFit style events.
Sarah Sigmundsdottir coming in, the rookie out of Iceland. Behind her is Michelle Laton. Michelle Laton looking behind her to see if anyone's trying to chase her down, but Sarah Sigmundsdottir is going to get herself across the finish line. She came in third place overall. I was able to talk to one of her coaches, and he said the only thing she lacks, experience.
She is a true rookie in that sense, but man, when you look at her capacity and her ability physically, look at the way she just trotted across that finish line. When you see veteran athletes and the abilities that we know in Annie Thorisdottir, Cara Webb, you just see what they look like. That's scary.
Ninth place finish for Sigmundsdottir.
And let's just take this for what it is. This is one portion of this entire competition. So how much damage is this one event going to do for you for the next one today, the next one tomorrow, or whatever else they have left, coming up?
Stacy Tovar just wrapped up an 11th place finish. That's Katrin Davidsdottir coming across the finish line. And behind her in the upper right-hand portion of your screen in the yellow pants, that is Cara Webb. Solid result for Cara Webb, although she looks exhausted.
And I was really excited to see what Cara Webb's games are going to look like this year, but this may do a lot of damage for her for the rest of the event. She looks terrible right now.
Cara Webb just collapsing into the arms of Anna Tunnicliffe, who's trying to get her some water. They're calling for the medical staff to come over and check out Cara Webb. Tunnicliffe and E.C. Sinkowski trying to get the best off of her. That's China Cho. She'll finish up. China Cho coming in 4th place overall. We saw the triple threes last year wreak some havoc and just leave some carnage in its wake, but this is even worse. Now Camila Blanc-Bazinet acknowledging the crowd as she's finishing up her final 1 mile run.
And I will say this about CLB. No, this is not the placing that she wanted, but look how composed she looks. She realizes that she's got the rest of today, all of Saturday, and a lot of Sunday you have to go. And this is still early in this competition.
Amen. That's what I was just about to say. This is not about as hard as you can for that one event. It is not one event, and unfortunately, looking at Annie Thorisdottir, that's what I'm saying. She may have gone out too hard, focused on this one event so hard that I think she went too hard too early.
Whitney Gallin is across the finish line. Here comes Margot Alvarez. Alvarez is in. Gallin will finish 17th and Alvarez in 18th. Camila Blanc-Bazinet was 16th. That's going to earn her 48 points.
Margot smiling after that.
Ooh.
That's Caroline Reason-Thibault Brooke Wells, who is 20 years old, one of the youngest competitors in this competition. She's a rookie, managed to win the Central Regional. Alex Parker, the woman who was out front of that initial run, she's closing out her event.
But looking at some of the carnage that Murph is doing here, maybe it was smart for her to back off a little bit, because she is running here at least with a little bit better pace and a little bit more composure than some of these other women.
And this isn't the only event they're doing today. They have that snatch speed ladder and then an unknown event that hasn't been announced yet, so they don't even know what awaits. So it's not like they know how to pace this for what is coming later. It's just like, just get me across the finish line.
Pacing for the event, not for the day.
But they don't even have a lot of time. I mean, there's not a lot of turnover time for these ladies to go back and relax and get what they need to. This is a long event to recover from.
Sandra Pacelli and Lindy Barber still doing their air squats. Annie Thorisdottir still walking as more and more women continue to come across the finish line. Thorisdottir came in 6th place overall after a 13th and a 6th place finish on the 2 events on Wednesday, but she will fall down the leaderboard after this. That's Turi Helgadottir coming across the finish line. Another one of the Icelandic women.
They just can't wait to get that armor off of them. Rose said it at the starts of this event that these athletes get to take them home. It has their name on it, but many of them are not going to
a lot of them are going to chuck it into the Pacific Ocean after this.
They're going to give it to their enemy.
Sarah Sigmundsdottir and Margot Alvarez there trying to help out Turi Helgadottir. That's your winner, Samantha Briggs. Congratulating Jen Jones, who's just finished up. Brooke Wells working her way down the ramp. The 20-year-old, second youngest competitor in the field. Annie Thorisdottir has just made the turn, and most likely she's going to hit the time cap.
For Annie at this point, though, she knows she's in trouble physically. She knows there's so many more events that to push it, you know, 2-3 places at this point for her, just damage control for your body.
Jessica Core is right behind her, and she's going to pass up Annie Thorisdottir. And Thorisdottir, if she stays where she is going to be in 4th place. Or I'm sorry, she's only going to earn 4 points. That's not going to help her cause in staying in the top 10. We saw Carl Webb come across the finish line. She looked like she was in trouble. Nikki Brazier has an update on that.
Yeah, you guys, that's right. Cara Webb was just taken out of the arena on a stretcher. Her eyes were shut, but they did get the body armor off of her before they brought her out. So we did just see her, again, brought out of the stadium here on a stretcher. Right behind her, Carrie Pierce had to be helped off also by the medical team. So hopefully those ladies will be in fighting condition again by the time the next workout rolls around.
Thanks, Nikki. And Cara Webb's games last year came to a disappointing performance because of injury. Well, obviously, we don't know what the prognosis is, but we definitely want to thank the medical staff for attending to Cara Webb. They do an outstanding job out here, and we hope that Cara Webb is okay and they're just able to continue the competition.
And we definitely don't want to have another heartbreak like last year. It's scary when you see that, but these athletes, they train so hard. They know that they can put how much they can push, but you never like to see that.
Brooke Wells can see the finish line, and she will be able to cross it. Margot Alvarez is out there trying to coach her up a little bit on the last part of that run. Anna Tunnicliffe in the orange is out there wandering around too and trying to help out her fellow competitors. And Brooke Wells gets inside that 55-minute time cap, and Kelly Jackson's there to help her get that body armor off.
This is what I love so much about the competitors, and they know what it feels like. They could be running and getting some shade themselves, taking care of it, but they know for everybody coming in here, I'm going to look out for you. And I think it gives me chills just thinking about Mike Murphy and just thinking about what he did for his country and for the other SEALs that he was with, that you look out for each other. And that's what these girls are doing here too.
Here comes Amanda Goodman. She's trying to get inside that 52-minute mark. Won't quite happen, but more importantly, she is inside the 55-minute mark. But Annie Thorisdottir, meanwhile, still walking but still moving. Again, there are 2 women behind her. If Annie Thorisdottir winds up in 38th place, she only earns 4 points. She's going to get outside the top 10. Lindsay Valenzuela is passing her. So is Maddie Myers in the yellow, the youngest competitor in the competition.
What's going to be real impressive to see how Annie's able to handle this mentally afterwards. One, is she going to pull herself out? Is she physically able to do it? But like right now in her head, she has to be thinking, What do I need to do for the rest of this competition? Am I going to be able to make myself up, or is it I'm out? I'm out and just lose it from there.
Lindsay Valenzuela, we saw her pass Annie Thorisdottir. Valenzuela wearing some American flag socks. She had to get approval to do that because they're not part of the standard uniform. They said okay, and it's her way of just honoring Michael Murphy and the men and women who have given the ultimate sacrifice in the service of their country. Approaching the 55-minute time cap is Sandra Pacelli. Is going to come across the finish line to close out Murph. And Annie Thorisdottir just trying to get there, but she's going to have to start running in order to do that. But it doesn't look like it's going to happen for Annie Thorisdottir, as she will be on the course when the time cap hits. Brooke Entz onto the field. She's another rookie. She won the California Regional. Reagan Huckabee peels off the body armor. Brooke Entz getting set to come across the finish line. She's in the upper left-hand portion of your screen, coming into view in the orange shorts. Brooke Entz is in. More than a minute inside that 55-minute time cap. She will finish in 30th place. That'll be good for 20 total points in the standings.
And there is so much that these women have to do as soon as they leave this field. They have more events, something they don't know, something they do know, but they really need to get themselves together quickly. And their coaches, you can bet, are coming right over to them and help them out. They have to recover with nutrition, with a lot of electrolytes, really replenish so much that they've lost.
They definitely have to do that, but they definitely need to cool down that core temperature. They need to get into those ice baths that they have set up back in the athlete warm-up area. They're going to need to get in there and just cool everything down.
The soccer stadium is hot, but man, that tennis stadium is hotter. And that's where they're going to be.
Trying to get in. It's not going to happen for her. Just 20 seconds to go before we hit the 55-minute time cap. The two-time champion just showing severe signs of fatigue. Lindsay Valenzuela makes herself onto the field, makes her way onto the field, but that's going to be the time cap. So Annie Thorisdottir still running. She may not have heard the horn, but Valenzuela just missing getting inside the 55-minute time cap. And she is exhausted as well. Thorisdottir continuing to walk one of the medical staff in the red shirt, trying to chase her down and check on her once again. We want to thank the medical staff for all their hard work. They're doing a great job here at the StubHub Center. The top five, Sam Briggs takes the victory, the only woman sub-40. That time would have been good enough for second place in the men's field. Alethea Boone finishes second, then Kristen Holt out of Norway is third. And then a pair of Americans rounding out the top five, and Carleen Matthews and Carrie Pierce.
3 rookies in the top 5 to take on Murph, when we know that this is an event that many of them have tackled many times.
Annie Thorisdottir being held by Angel Forbes, and the blue shirt medical staff now attending to Annie. Man, this event just wreaked havoc on the field, and Annie Thorisdottir was the first woman we saw just having extreme problems. And then Cara Webb, as she came across the finish line, look at the line she's taking, just wobbling all over the place, and she had to be taken off the field on a stretcher and just collapsing into the arms of Anna Tunnicliffe. But in third place, Kristen Holte. She did well last year in the triple threes and duplicating that performance again here in 2015.
She stayed in the back of the pack on the very first run, but she was very consistent and methodical the way she went through the portions on the field. And it was that final mile where she could really just unleash it and let it out, giving her good enough for a third place in that final mile. And it was Alethea Boone, too. We saw her start to put some pressure on Briggs, especially during those push-ups. That's where we first got to see her, and she kept that pressure on. She was the first to the air squats, couldn't keep up with Sam Briggs' pace, held strong on the final run, which got her that second. But it was Sam Briggs all the way from the starts. She was in the top of the pack on that first mile. She just dominated the pull-ups, push-ups, and the air squats, taking those final air squats in sets of 25. Absolutely strong, and then went out on the last mile super strong, and that's what gave her the win.
Samantha Briggs racks up 100 points and another win in her career at the CrossFit Games. She's with Nikki Brazier.
Sam, you pulled ahead in those air squats, and the crowd was absolutely electric as you were the first one back in the stadium. On that last mile, we saw you high-fiving all the other girls as they passed. Tell me about the camaraderie in this workout.
The whole point of doing Murph is to celebrate the life of a hero who's lost his life. So even though I'm competing with these girls, we're all here together doing Murph in remembrance of that hero.
Great. Now, the last time we spoke, we had talked about your foot. You had an injury during regionals and went on to have surgery. Did that affect you at all during this workout?
No, I mean, it's a little bit sore now, but I never thought about it during the workout. So the adrenaline's pumping, you just go.
You made it look easy. You would have come in second in the men's division if it were the same time. Congratulations. Great win for you today.
Thank you.
Samantha Briggs is back, and she gets 100 points in the overall standings. She beats Alethea Boone. Kristen Holte will come in third. Carleen Matthews and Carrie Pierce, 2 rookies. Anna Tunnicliffe is in there. Danae Brown. Sarah Sigmundsdottir in ninth. The rookie continues to impress, and Michelle Lacan rounding out the top 10. The first time in games history, Murph. For the men, they managed to make it through. For the women, a lot of carnage. The competition continues when we return to the Step Up Center.
Welcome back to the Day at the Games desk here at the StubHub Center in Carson, California. We are in the middle of Day 2 Friday for the individual and team competition. For the individuals, 3 events down. But first, a little bit of news. If you are here on site and you can hear my voice, make your way to the stadium because Dave Castro, the director of the games, is going to have an address to the athletes coming up very shortly, and you are not going to want to miss it. But as always, joined by Katie Henniger, the 2008 champ, and Tommy Marquez. And let's dive right into the men's leaderboard for Murph. It just went down, and it was absolute carnage out there on the field. Bjorgvin Gudmundsson in a smoking fast time of 38 minutes, followed by Matt Fraser, which honestly should terrify people. Noah Olsen taking spot number 3, and then a lot of us felt that Koski would be the winner, but, you know, top 5, not bad at all.
Yeah, I think, you know, he was very confident, his coach was very confident going into this, but still a top 5 finish allows him to stay on top of the leaderboard.
Yeah, but really the top performer for the men has got to be Bjorgvin Gudmundsson. What a gutsy performance by the second-year man from Iceland. To go sub-39 in a workout like that, given the conditions, it's hot, the sun's beating down on you, you're carrying in that weight vest. You can't partition the reps however you want, which is how most people do it. And to still be able to go that fast in that kind of workout is super impressive. I know I've personally done it both ways, and it can cost you up to 5 minutes not being able to partition that. So, a blazing fast time.
And definitely an endurance event, but there were some guys that had a little something left in the tank for a good old sprint at the end.
Yeah, Alex Anderson was actually walking under the stadium, and Adrian Conway passed him. They were neck and neck when they hit the soccer field, and it was an all-out sprint, and I think Conway got him at the end.
I tell you, if I was a male individual athlete, okay, days gone by, what would terrify me the most, like I said, Matt Fraser, second place on the long grinding event, and we know that there are barbells coming up soon. I mean, is it too early to call for Fraser?
I mean, is anyone really surprised here?
I think I'm very surprised we haven't touched a barbell yet.
I mean, still, but he's proven to us time and time again. I mean, last year he had such a great performance. This year he comes out and wins the Open, wins his regional by doing that long chipper and completing it within the time cap. I mean, he's kind of sort of starting to show us that he can go long too.
And last year that was where he struggled. And earlier during regionals or post regionals, when I caught up with him on the phone, he said, you know, he took second place last year, not running a little bit, but literally not running at all, showing up to the games, and was still the second. So now we're seeing what's happened, once he puts a little bit of training under his belt. Now, the women also took on Murph, and here's how the leaderboard shook out on event number 3. Surprise, surprise. Samantha Briggs, the event winner, 39 minutes and 10 seconds, quite frankly, beating the overwhelming majority of men that did the event. Alethea Boone, hot on her heels in second place, and Kristen Holte, who we all know loves the endurance events, finishing out the top 3.
Well, Samantha Briggs, we knew she was going to come out here. We thought she was going to come out here and make a statement, and she definitely did. She beat all but one person in the men's Murph event. So just an amazing performance by Sam. Came in neck and neck with Parker coming into the stadium, but just really pulled ahead on the push-up portion of this event.
And I love this event for Sam because I've said time and time again, if there's a way to quantify just the ability to suffer and just flex your engine as an athlete, this would be it. And she shows that she's got it in spades and head and shoulders above anyone else in this field.
Now, earlier on the show this morning, we talked about who needed to thrive, who needed to survive. And we said Annie Thorsdottir didn't need to win this thing, but she just needed to keep her head above water. But what actually happened?
Yeah, I mean, we said she just needed to survive, but you see she had to stop at the top of the hill here, stumbled a little bit, and ended up walking the rest of the running event and did not finish this workout.
I mean, you got to feel for her there. I mean, it's something similar to what we saw Rich last year having to stop and walk, kind of coming to the heat. But we've seen some athletes in the past during these endurance events kind of collapse and almost need some attention there. We saw in 2012 with I forget his name now. You have to excuse me, but on the Pendleton event when we had someone actually have to seek medical attention after that.
Right. European athlete, his name escapes me as well. Here's the question, though, and I'm going to put you on the spot as a former champ. Is Annie just out for a podium spot?
I don't think she's out for a podium spot. Obviously a big hole now, but she's going to come in here tonight. I think she'll do really well in the snatch event, but she's got to come out here and look to win the rest of the events.
Now, the men thus far, 3 events are down. There's still 2 remaining today, one known, one unknown. Here's how the leaderboard looks. Your overall leader, Yoni Koski, staying up there, and Matt Fraser in second place, which is where he ended the games last year. Bjorgvin Carl Gudmundsson did himself a lot of favors on event number 3. The big Australian falls a little bit. Chad McKay and Lucas Hardberg round out the top 5. But I mean, Noah Olson creeping up to 6. Jacob Hefner's getting up there. Alex Anderson, who's got barbells coming up. I mean, it's an exciting top 10.
I mean, I am super impressed with Noah Olson's performance here. He had a huge stumble in the sandbag event, but he comes back and takes 3rd place finish overall in Murph, and that's, his second 3rd place finish of the weekend. He moves up 8 spots from 14th up to 6th. This is what he needs because we've got the snatch speed ladder coming up, and that's not necessarily an event that favors him. He didn't do too well in the clean speed ladder last year, and who knows what we've got coming up with this announcement. So he needed to buy some points here, get himself back into the top 10 and around that podium spot, and that's exactly what he did.
Murph shook it up a little bit on the men's side. We thought it would shake up the women's as well. And after 3 events, the overall women's leaderboard looks like this. Anna Tunnicliffe in first place. Cara Webb, if you watched her, I mean, she went hard out there. And if you guys saw her, she's okay. Took 13th on the event, collapsed afterwards, but she was immediately attended to. Sam Briggs in 3rd place, and then the rookie, Sarah Sigmundsdottir in 4th place. Kristen Holte rounding out your top 5. Katie, who really grabs your attention on Murph?
I think Sarah Sigmundsdottir. We've been talking about her before we even started the events here, and I think for her to continue to stay in the top 5, she doesn't look like she has any jitters at all. I'm really interested to see how she performs when we start to pick up barbells, but she has set herself up nicely here going into tonight.
And another sprint finish for her. I mean, she came into the stadium. I can't remember who she passed, but she hit the jets at the end to move up a few spots, and those are precious points heading into the evening, especially with all the unknowns left in the competition.
Now, individuals still have a little bit remaining.